So the government is still shut down.
What's going on today?
I guess we're not going to work.
Yeah, everything's like misty like here.
Yeah, and in fact, they're taking bets on how long the shutdown is going to be. The bet currently is over 30 days.
Over 30 days? That's too long.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think the record is for government shutdown?
Even week is pretty long.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. So the record is actually, I think it's 35 days.
35 when?
Under Trump. Before.
Really?
Yeah, so he's trying to best his record again. And the latest is the two sides aren't talking to each other.
Yeah.
And the Democratic leader, so his name is Hakeem Jeffries, he's like, you know, they asked him, why aren't you talking to the Republican leader? He says, because Donald Trump won't let him.
Oh.
It could be.
Yeah, just like this, you cannot see anything.
Yeah, yeah. So what does Donald Trump do? He actually runs to another country. So he's not even in the USA right now, doing Middle Eastern stuff. And anyway, let's just get into it. So we don't know the exact number, but it's like 4,000 people are being pushed out.
Or total in the government?
Yeah, well, that's total. That's not the total number. That's just like this week, I guess.
This week.
Yeah, yeah. So it's and that doesn't also include. There's a bunch of people who are like taking early retirement.
Oh, I see.
Because they can kind of see where things are going, and you know, I see many people in our community that work for the government, and they'll be like, "I'm just tired of messing with the Trump stuff," right?
And probably there are some people that they kind of fired, but they're not signed yet, so they're not included in the number.
Oh, right. That's a good point. So basically, if you got to fill out the paperwork, because oftentimes, you know, you're talking about retirement money and all kinds of things. You need the government to be functioning to do said paperwork. And if there's no one in the office, and the other problem is people don't have access to their emails and things.
Oh.
So like so for example, they send out an email saying that people are let go. And some people, there's one person in the community said that her husband and her son were both part of the government, but they don't have access to their stuff. Like you just kind of wake up one day and then you're locked out.
Yeah.
You can't get in the building. You can't access your computer.
Do you remember, actually, you know, my sister's story? You know?
Oh, yeah.
My sister, you know, used to work at the VOA.
Right.
The headquarters, her boss.
Right.
You know, they haven't go to office for a few months. But they haven't signed yet. Right.
So there's a lot of people in that kind of situation, and the craziest thing, like while we're doing all this stuff, whether or not we're shut down or not, the government's trying to do a trade war with China. Which how does that make any sense, right?
Nothing makes sense.
Yeah, because like there was even report today they were going to do some sort of thing at the Treasury, and supposedly people were breaking the Scott Bessent office that they were going to do like this big cocktail party where all these people are talking about AI investment, these kind of things, right? But now that the government shut down, that's kind of been called off. And there's a bunch of stuff that's, you know, probably being called off.
Yeah.
I mean, because the government's like, you know, what's that?
Yeah, called off. And you know, there's a lot of articles that there's a museum and zoos shut down.
Yeah. And so how long can we function like this it is the question, you know?
Yeah, so I'm not sure, close means they not get paid, they're not going to pay it, right?
Yeah, so I think their last paycheck was, I think it's the 15th, I believe. So it's like in a couple of days, and then after that, who knows?
Yeah, so people don't get paid.
Right.
They cannot pay rent. They cannot go to grocery.
And then it was reported some of the federal workers now have to do like Uber, Lyft, like food delivery, like a bunch of extra jobs. And there's an issue here to where normally if you're following the rules and you're a government worker, you're supposed to sort of get that approved. Because you don't want federal workers doing jobs.
2 jobs.
Well,
in Korea, you cannot get a
no second job.
No.
So the main issue would be, does your second job, is that a conflict of interest? So like, for example, let's say I work for example, the energy department, and then I get a job for an energy company. Like you clearly don't want that, right? But for example, let's say I'm a government worker and I sell paintings because I do art or I do music and it's like a part-time thing. I don't make a lot of money. So you would have to get that approved. But in this situation, say driving for Uber, it's probably not a conflict of interest, chances are, but there's no one to approve it, right? These kind of things. So there's any number of issues to where people want to do the right thing, but there's no one to process.
Yeah, you're in this kind of, like bad situation. What could you do?
But yes, my understanding is, you bring up a good point, is generally speaking, you don't want government workers to be doing a second job. And so that it came up, it was in the Wall Street Journal about, like, can a government worker drive for Uber?
Yeah.
And normally you want to get that approved, but there's no one around. And then also no one's going to check, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, from the worker's point of view, if I need food to put on the table, I'm going to, food delivery
Not
or
just
whatever.
my food, my kids, my parents.
Yeah, so that's the kind of situation that people are in, and other people are just like, I'll just take that early retirement.
Yeah.
So while that's going on, Trump's doing his trade war with China. And what are people in Korea saying about this trade war?
Oh, I don't know. It doesn't make sense, all of it, because, even a few days ago, the Trump said, I don't need, Xi Jinping. We don't need to meet again. But
Right.
But I just checked, there are a few hours ago, we're going to meet. Right?
Yeah, so they keep changing the story on that. Scott Bessent was signaling that, they're still on course to meet. Whether or not they meet, who knows? Honestly, I have no idea. One thing I'll say about this, though, is USA, in English we say, like, puffing your chest.
Yeah, like,
Yeah. So they try to act like they're much stronger than they are. They're always like, we don't need no China, right? That's what they try to act, but
the Korean comments, some Koreans say China doesn't care about shit anymore, because they think, they know that who's the leading right now.
Right.
So you bluffing your chest, whatever, you do what you do.
Yeah.
I don't care.
And the big one is actually soybeans. So before, China would buy a lot of soybeans from the USA. At the moment, I guess China's level of soybeans, they're importing like record levels, and none of it is from the USA.
No.
So clearly, in that situation, it's not a winning argument for USA to say you have to buy our beans. China's like, no, we don't.
So we say, you guys give Argentina money.
Yep.
Argentina, sells soybean to China. So we say 뒤통수 맞았다.
What does that mean?
Like hit the back.
Who hit the bag?
Argentina.
Oh, hit the back of USA's head, or hit the
Argentina hit the USA back.
Back of the head.
Yeah.
I don't know. What is the meaning of hit the back of the head?
Because the USA, maybe try to help Argentina.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
Argentina.
When someone cheats you, you say hit the back of the head.
Kind of. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, some people are guessing though that, and we'll never know for sure. I imagine that even though Trump says he's sending the money to Argentina, some way it'll find a way to get back into his pocket. I wouldn't be shocked on that. So then China's point of view, and then USA, they're trying to figure out how can we say push the buttons or play the cards to have more power in the other country. So here's something that the USA could do theoretically. They could block investment into Chinese companies.
Yeah.
So they've floated that a lot in the past.
Yeah.
So it's just for example.
The past, right?
Yeah. So just for example, like say an Alibaba or Neo, any number of Chinese companies, they could say, okay, you can't have access to our financial markets. The problem with that is there's so much money involved with this stuff. You're gonna
even Wall Street's involved that, so they cannot block it.
They've been threatening this stuff for years. So
yeah, but they couldn't do it.
No, I mean you can do whatever you want theoretically, but
if they do that, China's gonna say, okay, you do. We are doing nothing. They're not gonna do that. They're gonna fight back.
Right. Every sort of thing that USA tries, there's always a repercussion, right? So, for example, China could just say, hey, you can't sell U.S. products in China, right? They could do the same kind of stuff. I mean, both countries benefit when you can trade, right? Consumers benefit when you can trade. But what's really interesting, the stories are really different. In USA, if you watch American news, they just like to tell you that USA is number one all the time, and China has to buy American products.
Is it funny?
What's that?
USA said you're the number one, but China said you're the number one.
Right. And if you're in China, which is interesting to that, the whole Trump tariff thing is not like a big issue in the news
anymore, I guess.
Yeah, just the government, because the government controls the media. To be frank, and so they're not covering it. And the regular people aren't really talking about it that much.
Nice.
Now, certainly people will know about
Yeah,
said
yeah.
things, but I think in this kind of situation, it could change at any moment. And so, obviously, I think if the 100% does kick in, and Trump said November 1st, then you're going to talk about for sure. But at this stage, it's not like a major issue in the media, in Chinese media, at the moment.
At the moment, because I think every day is at the moment, because Trump changes his
Right.
words.
Right.
Even like twice a day, right?
Yeah. So one of the things I thought was funny was it was actually Fox News that their basic message was believe in Trump. That was their message.
I only believe the number.
Right. Right. So, and I was telling.
Yeah, if you don't
What's
believe,
that?
at least you can pray.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So the way when you watch Fox News, it ends up just being like church.
Yeah.
They just say, okay, well maybe the numbers aren't really what we'd like to see, but if
Just
you believe
it.
and then pray. And then the other thing that they often say on Fox News is like, it takes a long time for Trump's plan to work. So don't expect it tomorrow. Maybe next year it'll work.
But it was so quickly, he ruined the country.
Right.
It was so
Right.
fast.
Right.
But you know that the ruining is the fast, but recovery takes a lot longer.
That's actually a really good point because many people have been writing comments in our community that are like, I don't know if surprise is the right word or shocking, but just how quickly the U.S. has fallen apart under Trump. And many people were like, oh my God, I didn't think it would fall apart this quickly. But you're correct. All the damage that Trump has done will take a long time to recover.
Yeah.
Simple example. Let's say, for example, a company decides I'm going to fire a whole department because the business isn't there. What's that?
You just mentioned that, they kind of want to fire CDC employees, right?
Yeah.
So they just want people, get disease and die.
Yeah. So I'll put it in the simplest terms, okay? The USA is heading towards like a route of, say, a developing world, like a Vietnam or India, these kind of places. And what's the basic structure of the people in those kind of countries, like India, Vietnam?
Only like few top people has the money.
Yeah, basically that's what it boils down to. So we're kind of going that direction. So it's not that Trump is purposely, pushing a button and all these people disappear. It's more like Trump pushes a button and then the programs that people need to survive no longer exist. And then people end up fighting for what's left.
Yeah.
That's basically what it boils down to. Another way to think about it is like, let's say we had a system in USA, because we actually do. We have plenty of food in USA.
Sure.
Like we actually.
At least you can just eat the corn.
Yeah, no, seriously.
Yeah, you guys have plenty of corn.
We actually pay farmers not to make too much.
Yeah.
Because if they make too much, then the price, completely crashes. But the point being is that if you create a system to where you just decide we're not going to make anything, then suddenly no one has anything except the people at the very top. So a good example would be education.
Yeah.
So if you cut public funding to education, then most of the people at the bottom won't have access to anything, education, and only the really, really wealthy can have access.
And
What's that?
The wealthy people, they keep saying, you don't need the education, you don't need the education, just go to factory.
Yeah. So education, healthcare, transportation, all these kind of things, that's the world that the USA wants, basically. And like I said, it's going back to like, what's that?
That's what you guys have.
Have?
Yeah, the education, smart people, but you guys just kicking out everyone.
Yeah, and this is a long conversation because a lot of people say that, they would like to leave the USA because it's, hopeless. I don't want to ever give that impression. I'll just say that's a direction that it's going. And if you put people like Trump in power, it'll continue to go in that direction. And this is where you need to be honest with people of like what's actually happening. Because to people who listen to Trump, they'll say, but Chris, Trump protects my guns and Trump protects me from trans people. And it's like, this is why you're uneducated, right?
Gun doesn't pay you. Gun doesn't feed you.
Yeah. So that's what's going on. I'd like to hear your thoughts. We appreciate your time. And we'll catch you all in the next video. So, bye.